Now, Europe's border agency Frontex says nearly 66,000 Russians have flooded into the EU over the last week as men leave to avoid being called up to fight in Ukraine. Latvia has declared a state of emergency as its frontier comes under pressure, and Kazakhstan and Georgia are reporting tens of thousands of arrivals. DW correspondent Maria Katsamadze reports now from a checkpoint on the border between Georgia and Russia.
Thanks to the Georgians for opening the border. It made it much easier for us.
One thing I've seen so far about like these people that are fleeing the country because they don't want to be conscripted into a bullshit war is like I've seen a bunch of people saying like, "Oh, don't let them into your country." And it's like, what do you want? Do you want your enemy to have like a larger military? Like, what the fuck's wrong with you? Isn't this good? Like, I've seen hella psychotic like Ukrainian flag in the bio accounts saying shit like, do not let these Russian dogs into your country. And I'm like, bro, what? Like every Russian that escapes forced conscription in this bullshit fucking war is one less person you have to fight against. I saw some Redditors saying they need to stay because they deserved it. Like they quite literally do not deserve it. I'm from Lithuania and I can confirm we're all happy that Russians are not allowed to our country. But that doesn't make sense. Am I crazy? Why the fuck would people not want like Russians to unironically flee and not be a part of the fucking war efforts? When your enemy makes a mistake, you allow them.
On foot or by bike, with or without pets. Many of these people crossing the border from Russia into Georgia are doing so to avoid being sent to war.
Look at these fifth column guys, by the way. Do you see that? They're even bringing their fat cats with them. Typical spy shit. They're all probably KGB. Most of these guys.
Ilya spent 3 days on the road. Moscow, Tuapse, Vladikavkaz. First by train, then by bicycle. This is how he crossed the border into Georgia.
I cannot support what is happening in Russia now. I am against Putin's policies. I am against this war. I think it makes absolutely no sense.
Bye.
Nikita's originally from Moscow. He worked for an energy company which closed down because of the war. He'd like to return to Russia someday when Moscow changes its political course.
So many people live in the comfort of their homes and never have to consider fleeing the country that you called your home because of its fucking actions against you and against others. And it's a disgusting, Iowan piece of shit who never has to second guess America's imperialist wars and lives in the comfort of the imperial core saying the dumb shit on Twitter, being like, yeah, no, fuck these guys. You're a piece of shit. You're a gigantic piece of shit. You're not a good person. You're an actual unironic bad person. If you think that these people who are fleeing Russian conscription and Russian war should not be let into the country, you are no different than Vladimir Putin. Because you know who benefits from that? Vladimir Putin. That's why his fucking police force is unironically locking people up that are protesting the forced conscription and then immediately sending them to the fucking front lines. You have a 100% one-to-one exact take that Vladimir Putin has with respect to these people who are fleeing Russia. It's crazy. Moscow won't change its political course if everyone who wants it to leave changes. Mad disagree. What? Dude, you should get back to playing, even though your name is done playing. Bro, there could be an million, okay? There could be 10 million fucking Russians who are against the government. It doesn't matter. There is no say. They have no say. I literally hate these fucking American keyboard warriors who are like, man, I'm built differently. Yeah? Did you blow up an American forward operating base recently? What happened? Are you anti-imperialist? Are you fighting against American imperialism? Do you have some issues with that? What have you done to undermine American empire? Nothing. Shut the fuck up. These people are braver than you. Braver than you ever will be. My best friend is currently in the queue for crossing RUKZ. I'm not leaving as I have elder relatives to take care of. Shit is really sad. Reading the privilege of Marabou shitting on these people is fun. Yeah, I mean, dude, they're American. They're disgusting. What do you mean? We're American. We're filthy little piglets. Like, living in our own slop, thinking our shit don't stink. You know what I mean? Americans will never, ever comprehend the reality of, like, despising the authoritarian government that you weren't, like, that you were never in support of, that you were born into. You know what I mean? Those conditions. And escaping them. That's actually, unironically, half of our lack of empathy revolving around other, immigrants escaping countries that we fucked up, like Latin American countries and shit. A lot of those Americans also don't understand that, like, Russians still have access to the internet and they can read their fucking words. And they unironically are reinforcing the same narrative that Vladimir Putin wants reinforced, which is that if you're Russian, you're alone. If you're Russian, the only person that will look after you is your other fellow Russians. The entire world is against us, with maybe the exception of China and some other countries. The entirety of the Western world is against us. They hate you. Look what they're doing. They don't even need to like make fucking psyops. They could just show Reddit. They could just like literally show any random Reddit page to instill the notion that the rest of the world is like completely psychopathic with respect to like random Russian people and the way that they treat random Russian people. Here is No Fuckers talking about the mobilization in Russia. We're going to cover that in a second. It's just so insane. I don't know.
So yeah, I'm pretty sure all of you already know the news. I don't even need to tell you what happens. The Russian government, the Russian State Duma have added such terms as martial law, wartime, and mobilization into the Russian criminal code. And then one day later, Putin came out with a speech and address on live TV saying that he's announcing a partial mobilization in the Russian Federation.
The thing is, Russia's strategy for war is that you have the majority Russian population in some part of the country, so they need to liberate it. That's what's happening in Ukraine's west. Same thing with Moldova. They're mass relocating to Georgia so they can, set up. They can set up the Georgian front beyond the territories that they have already. That's why they're sending the babushkas. By the way, for the record, I just want people to understand. Like, while Russia does do shit like that, that kind of like anti-immigrant sentiment, anti-refugee sentiment is exactly what Americans think like Mexico is doing. You know what I mean? You're just being xenophobic for Georgia at this point. And it's understandable that Americans have takes like this because like Americans are so xenophobic, they got xenophobia for other countries. You know what I mean? You got American motherfuckers being like, nah, man, we need border walls right now for Georgia. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, yeah, we got it, dude. You love having this insanely reactionary worldview.
The decree that he signed about the mobilization actually doesn't specify who's going to be mobilized, so the decree basically allows anybody to get mobilized. And also, there's been pretty decently big protests in Russia right after this mobilization was announced, and the men who got arrested at the protest are being given mobilization like draft letters. So basically, if you go to protest against the mobilization, if you get arrested, you get mobilized. And this is not some speculation, by the way. Even Putin's press secretary Peskov has said that drafting people who've been arrested at protests actually doesn't break the law in any way and it's completely legal. So yeah, I don't think...
Oh, thank God. Thank God they figured out the legal boundaries on that one. You know what I mean? That's what I was worried about. It is evil as fuck, dude. Yes.
And as far as the way the mobilization is actually going, there's already a ton of videos online of like people being taken away, of people saying goodbyes to their, husbands, fathers.
I've seen videos of people fucking breaking their own legs and shit so they don't have to get drafted. I mean, it's really fucked up. It's really fucked up. My classmate literally dropped a weight on his big toe. It snapped off like a carrot. Morbid, but at least not going to war. Jesus Christ. Oh! That's fucking nuts! Toe was enough. Russians in the chat are like, wait a minute. Toe is enough? Okay. We will do. You know who's not getting mobilized, dude? The parkour motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? Those guys are parkouring and doing it wrong one time. And that's it. Then boom. No more mobilization for you. You just submit evidence as you as a bottom? No, that's just the Turkish military, my man. That doesn't work that way.
Also, a few fun facts. In Russia, on Google, right after the announcement of the mobilization, some of the top searches were how to leave Russia, where to leave Russia without having a foreign passport, and even how to break an arm. Yeah, because if you break an arm or a leg or something like that, you're not being taken to the army, so...
That's only gonna take you so far. Once these motherfuckers are like, yeah, actually, we decided even if you have a broken arm, you still have to serve. You know what I mean? And I'm not even joking about this.
Pretty much every single country that borders with Russia that has visa-free entrance to Russia has basically a shit show going on at the border right now, because there's a lot of photos online of the border between Kazakhstan and Russia, for example, where the lines have stretched like 15 kilometers from people just trying to leave Russia for Kazakhstan. Same thing is happening in Georgia as well. As I'm recording this video right now, there's like a 15-kilometer traffic jam at the border of people trying to get into Georgia. I mean, it's absolutely fucking insane. And I want to say this, people are making fun of all the Russians trying to leave Russia right now, essentially saying that, oh, you guys are fucking all Z, you all support Putin, why are you trying to leave your beautiful country? Go die for Russia, And I understand, yeah, it's funny, and honestly, if it's Ukrainians saying that, yeah, I get it. But honestly, I think it's just kind of wrongful to group everybody who's trying to leave right now.
Bro, this man has been cyberbullied so much that he's now officially cucked. He has been getting fucking so cyberbullied so relentlessly, non-fucking stop since Russia invaded Ukraine, That like he literally is like, oh, I get it if you think that it's funny. It's like, no, I don't think it's funny. I'll say it. I don't think he can, but I'll fucking say it. It's not funny at all. These are not the motherfuckers who want to do this.
Let me explain it really quick. In Russia, basically, when you go to the military draft office and you get your medical checkup, you get like a health ranking. A means you're like completely healthy, ready to serve Russia. B means you're fit to serve, but you have some health limitations. V, which is like C, the third letter of the Russian alphabet, means that you're not fit to serve because of your medical conditions, but you could be sent to the army in case of mobilization or martial law, something like that. And there's G, which is like, it means that you're not fit to serve at all, like if you're disabled or something. So yeah, apparently right now, most of the people that have been drafted so far, that have been sent letters that you're being drafted and mobilized, those people have been with the ranking A. Actually, one of my friends who lives in Georgia now, who's Russian as well, he's actually ranking A, and he has served in the army, so he actually got it. And he's here in Georgia, so he's not coming back at all. Me though, I haven't served in the army.
Bro, why is he fucking outing his homie, dude? What the fuck? Homie's dodging the draft in Georgia only to get fucked over by no fuckers in a video. Bro, don't snitch on him. What the fuck? Yeah, he's like, yeah, right here. He lives right at this address in Tbilisi, okay? They can just go to jail, right, to not kill humans if they deny. This applies to all Imperial Corps soldiers. No. Yes and no. In America, you can just go to jail. But in Russia, it seems like they're not doing that and instead sending you to the front lines regardless. Like, they're not even letting you fucking be like, yeah, okay, if you don't want to serve the military, you have to serve your prison sentence. They're literally just sending them. He served already, so the people who have been occupying us should seek refugee in my country. I'm very conflicted about this. Brother, he's a conscript. What do you mean? Like, he served already. It doesn't matter. If your ultimate goal is to undermine the Russian military endeavors, you should be very, very excited at the prospect of Russia not being able to fucking fill its ranks with more military members. I don't understand what the fuck this is. It's just like very basic shit. It's literally just a W. It's just a gigantic dub. You got Russian motherfuckers saying, I don't want to serve and I'm running away. Like, you are literally undermining the military before it reaches your fucking border. It's just common sense. You know what I mean? That's what I am failing to understand here, is that like people are so horny that they've like lost their common sense. It makes sense that you want them to desert. You want them to surrender. Why the fuck would the Ukrainian government regularly fucking throw out leaflets and pamphlets and say in Russian, like, hey, if you desert to us or if you surrender to us, like, we'll take care of you, blah, 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 all this shit. Like, that's the point, because they don't want you to fight. The entire goal, one of the many different ways of combating an invading force is to try to undermine the numbers that they have in the ranks.